Hey guys, Double Wide 6. Today I'm going to be working on this Kenmore gas grill. It won't light. The valves and knobs are all weathered and they need to be cleaned out. The igniter's not working and some of the parts are rusted out. So we're going to go through today and get this thing back up into good shape. Here's the problem, these valves. This one works, but this one won't turn. This one doesn't turn, and this one works. So we're going to go through and clean all the valves. I've loosened up a few screws up underneath on the sides, and now this whole burner assembly will come loose, looks like. It appears. Gonna have to remove this gas line down here. Here's where the gas line ties in. So I'm gonna hold on to the valve pipe and loosen up the gas line. The grill has 4 valves. I've already removed one, so now I'll show you how you do it. You just take a screwdriver, pop off the handle there, the knob, and it's a D-shaped stem, so you don't have to worry which direction to put it back on. There's 2 Phillips head screws, and that's all you have to do. We're going to go down the line, take all these off. I have all the knobs off, and I could lift off this fascia, and in here we have the valve assemblies. I see there's some Phillips head screws. I'm going to take one apart and then I'll show you guys what I find. I've gone through, I've done 2 of the 4 of these. This one's really rusted. This is number 3, so I'm going to show you some tips to fixing it. First thing, you want to use an impact to take out these screws, just because they're very easy to strip, and plus they're rusted in there. So I'm going to push down towards the table, so I have the valve on the table, and I'm going to push down on the table real hard and break it loose. If you strip these little screws, you're going to be pretty much out of luck. Okay, it's loose, so there's a cover with 2 screws that just comes off. Something else that I've done is I've taken a paint pen and marked the orientations of that little case there. There's a small spring in here which you just don't want to lose. And inside here is your little brass cone. We're going to start out with this piece. You can see it's completely rusted and doesn't turn at all. So I'll show you what I found works. Alright, I'm going to apply some heat. This is like the only way I can free these things up. You got to keep in mind this outer thing is aluminum and the inner thing in there is brass, so you don't want to get it too hot. The brass will start to turn a little bit green when it's heated up enough. You can just barely see it turning a little bit green. Get it hot like that, and I'm going to spray some PB Blaster on here, and we'll let that work itself in. Well, it's been sitting for a few seconds, maybe 20. I've taken a vice grip, and I've set the vice grip so it's not too tight because I don't want to crack anything. And you could see that we're now able to twist this thing. That was really easy compared to the first one I did. The second one was free already. We're looking at one of the valves I already did here, and you see how I push on this? It's actually spring loaded. if that spring's not working, it won't allow you to turn the knob, and you won't be able to turn on gas. And that was one of the complaints that my neighbor had. Now this one that I freed up here, it's free, but I still can't move it up and down, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. The next step here is to take the stem, and we'll set it in the vise. It turns freely left and right, but it doesn't go up and down yet. So I'll put a little bit of PB Blaster in there, and I've found that a deep socket, very carefully on this brass, if you just tap it down like that, that's about all it takes. It did slide down. And we'll take a close look here. There's some rust before that C-ring. So what we're going to do is wire brush that off. And then it's still stiff. We got to work it a little more by hand to loosen it up. But we have it moving. Well, after the wire brush and a little bit of work, we were able to free it all up. So now it's moving nicely. Okay, so now we're on to the cone. And there's some little pilot holes here that we want to clean out. And there's also a little bit of grease on here. So I'm using some brake parts cleaner. And we're just going to clean this thing off real well. And once you have it clean, you can use a wire, but I happen to have a torch tip cleaner, and I can just make sure that there's no debris in this hole where the gas comes through. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to clean it up a little more and blow it off with compressed air. The last step, we're going to clean this thing out. Get in here, I'm just using a Q-tip, and there's a hole that goes out the back side down there. You can see that. You just want to make sure that that's open, and if it's not, you want to open it up by using a wire or something, but you don't want to widen it. Alright, I'd say that looks pretty good. So now we're going to take our cone and away from the pilot hole, we're going to put a little bit of high temp grease on there. I saw there was grease on it when I took it apart, so that should keep it sliding. Not much, just a little bit. And you want to remember your orientation. This little notch was pointing down. And then all you have to do is take this thing, the flat spot points to the left because there's like a D, and it's probably easiest to put the spring right on the bottom. One of the ends it kind of locks on. Well, at least it did on the other one. So we'll drop it in here, and you want to make sure that this little lever here, this thing that right there, has to go in that slot on the cone. So it goes on this way. There we go. And all we have to do is tighten up those screws and not strip them. Alright guys, this has become one of those jobs that takes a lot longer than I expected it to. I noticed that back here, the little supports that hold up these burning rails were rusted away, so I put in a piece of angle here, and up top there's some holes, so I'm going to weld a little piece of angle on here, and that'll help support the trays. So I'll get that welded, and then I think we're about done. I was able to figure out what was up with the igniter. It wasn't arcing because it was actually bent and too far away from the metal. We basically have everything together. I got that back welded there, and it's just a matter of hooking up a gas tank and getting this thing fired up. I'll probably go ahead and replace those metal tents because they're pretty worn, but everything looks good. We're going to test out the grill and see if it works. Put a gas tank on it, see if this thing will light. Here's gas. Up. It says ignition burner here. Not igniting. Not sure why. Well, that lit. I gotta figure out why it's not igniting right away. Not sure. Let's take a look. I want to see if that ignition burner is lit. It's almost like there wasn't gas coming out of it, but there is. It's the second burner. Well, I'm not sure. I'm going to let it burn a little bit. Looks to be pretty even. Almost forgot. Let's check this burner. This would help if we turn it on. There we go. Alright guys, I've had it burning here for a minute or two, and it's burning off some of the dirt. Looks pretty good. The valves are adjusting as they should. You can see I'll turn this one up, and then this one, and the last one. So they're working well. I'm not sure what's up with the igniter. One of the things I'm going to try and do is scrape some of the rust off where it arcs off of. And I also noticed that this thing said it had a battery in it, so I'm going to change that battery and see if we don't get a little bit better spark. But I don't think it's a major issue. So anyhow, I'm Double Wide 6, and if you like this video, you might like my video on repairing an entire grill. I will put links in the description to where you can get some products for this build, including new igniters if you're not going to go through the trouble of rebuilding. So check out the links in the description, and if you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing. I got a whole bunch of repair videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.